In 1911, a Japanese Buddhist monk by the name of Esai, who spent a large chunk of his life studying Buddhism in China, returned to Japan and brought back with him the seeds and methods of making matcha, which actually originated in China. And fast forward to 2025, matcha has absolutely become synonymous with Japan. Now, there's conflicting evidence that suggests matcha was brought to Japan a bit earlier, but that is the widely accepted story. Regardless, Nike is coming out with their second collaboration with Japanese two-time Olympic gold medalist Yuto Horigome and drawing inspiration from matcha. Yuto, Nike SB Dunk Low, matcha. Now, the shoe is dropping on April 5th for $135 in the United States. Of course, it is the second Nike SB Dunk from Yuto Horigome, and first impressions of this shoe. This is a great example of the mere exposure effect. So I took psychology as one of my majors in college, and we talked about this during one of the classes where a lot of marketers will use this type of psychological effect where they bombard you and advertise a certain product, whatever it is they want to sell you on. They bombard you with it, and your brain starts getting used to it. It'll tell you that maybe you kind of do need that product. You start to like it subconsciously. You don't even realize it. Because when I first saw images of this colorway, first I was like, the green's a bit too much. It really does look like asparagus. That was like the first kind of unofficial name for this shoe. It was just a bit too bright. That type of green wasn't really my thing, especially when the first SB Yuto Dunks were like just so delicious. Then I kept seeing more images of this shoe, and I was like, at some point I was like, oh, it kind of looks nice. And then over time I was just like, this is actually a pretty nice colorway. And I swear, I promise it wasn't because I like talked myself into it. It just kind of happened. I still don't think it's as good as his first SB Dunk. I think that was just a very clean shoe. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, this is, I wouldn't say it's like delicious and scrumptious, but it is getting close. It definitely is. And the materials on this shoe, so on the base layer, you have suede and this kind of brownish khaki color. Now the suede is slightly different. So on the toe box, you get more of like a velvety, more plush type of suede. It feels pretty nice to the touch. But then on the mid panels, it is like super buffed down. It's got this kind of like sandy, almost cracked leather aesthetic type of suede going on. So that was kind of surprising. Couldn't tell from the photos. And then on the green overlays, it is nubuck. And the nubuck does feel pretty decent, pretty smooth. And then on the nubuck, you see these speckles. That, according to Nike Skateboarding, the bubbles is a reference to the bubbles that are made during the preparation of matcha. Now the swoosh itself, it is leather. And then going up to the ankle collar lining there, that is like textile. And then wrapping around on the heel tab, that is suede as well with the Nike branding on the booty. Now on the heel, that is Yuto's logo, and apparently, again, according to Nike Skateboarding, that is his family crest, paying homage to his Japanese heritage. I think it's a very clean, kind of elegant looking logo, and that kind of feels like its own piece, like glued onto the shoe. So it's not like printed, it is like raised, you can feel the texture of it. Yeah, I think that logo looks pretty nice. Now the SB Dunks does come with like thicker laces than non-SB Dunks, and this shoe does come with 2 extra set of laces. Get this grayish set of laces and then pink. Out of the 3, I think I'm either gonna stick with the green. That pink actually kind of looks nice on the shoe, plays into like the whole cherry blossom theme of Japan, as well as like his first SB Dunk collaboration. Those pink laces have appeared on a bunch of other SB Dunks before, but I think all 3 look pretty decent. Can't really go wrong with any of them. Now very subtly on the lace tips, it is not just a plain flat color. It's actually like a pattern design on it, and you actually see that on all 3 sets of laces. Now, another difference between an SB Dunk and a non-SB Dunk, it is this slightly fatter and more padded tongue, and the tag on the tongue says Nike SB Yuto Horigome. And if you look inside, there is also like these straps that hold the tongue in place, so when you're skateboarding, the tongue doesn't like shift around too much. And then inside the tongue, you get the same Yuto logo. Now in terms of cushioning, the SB Dunks comes with a rubber cup sole with a Zoom Air unit on the heel. And in terms of the outsole, one difference between an SB versus a non-SB Dunk, there are more circles on the SBs, so that apparently is to provide more grip when you're skateboarding. I've never skateboarded once in my life, but I imagine it does have that effect. And you see this very nice pink Nike SB cutout in the middle. I love when they come with like pink cutouts for SBs. That Born and Raised had them, a bunch of other Nike Dunks had them. I just think it pops, even though pink is kind of like out there. Yeah, it just gives it a very unique look. And just like the green overlays on the upper, there's a bunch of speckles on the green outsole here. It is not dust, it is made to look like that. And yeah, a very beautiful outsole here. And in terms of the cup sole, it is kind of like an off-white color, not like super muslin or super yellow. So it doesn't look like pee stains. So I don't have too much to complain about there too. And the insole of the shoe in terms of materials, it is pretty standard for an SB Dunk. Get that Zoom Air on the heel and the Poron on the forefoot area. That is kind of a softer, squishier material for better impact absorption when you're like skateboarding. And the custom graphic, I really like that with Yuto's branding here on the heel. And then it looks to be like a matcha brewing process or matcha making process here. And at the bottom, sneakers doesn't describe what it is. Doesn't say on Nike skateboarding as well. My mind blanks a lot when it comes to things like this. So unless I can find like a description somewhere, my mind's blanking on exactly what that is. Kind of looks like some type of storage, maybe where they keep like matcha tea. I'm not sure. But regardless, I think that adds to the overall storytelling. In the box of the shoe, a purple Nike SB box. Now in terms of sizing and comfort, I am a wide and flat footer for SBs. If you want a very tight and snug fit, you could go true to size. Lately, I've actually been going up half a size to size 10 just because of my fat feet. The forefoot area, I found if I go true to size, can feel kind of tight, just takes a long time to break in. So I do find it slightly more comfortable when I go up half a size. And lengthwise, for the SBs, I don't find it's too like long in the toe area where if I go up half a size, it can crease very ugly. So personally for me, I go up half a size. If you don't have super wide feet, I think you'd be fine going true to size. Now in terms of overall comfort, I think the SB Dunks are actually a decently comfortable shoe. There's a Zoom Air unit on the heel, nothing too like fancy. The cup sole is durable. That is one good thing for skateboarding, but it doesn't lend itself to like a very plush type of cushioning. But it is a very old shoe. For average like daily use, it is definitely comfortable. Doesn't feel as stiff and as heavy and brickish as like an Air Force One. A slight upgrade from a non-SB Dunk. The casual use, you shouldn't have any problems. And that brings the total sole score of the Yuto Nike SB Dunk Low Matcha to 36 out of 50. Pretty decent score compared to other collaborations. Now first to this colorway, like I said at the beginning of the video, this is one of those colorways I kind of grew to like. First impressions, first images, I wasn't a huge fan of. But then seeing it more and more subconsciously, it's like, this is actually a pretty decent colorway. The green is a bit much, but yeah, it's kind of earthy with the brown and khaki colors throughout. Yeah, it really has grown on me. I think this is a very nice colorway. And in terms of the materials, it's not like super premium. The Nubuck does feel pretty nice and smooth. Suede on the toe box is pretty nice as well. However, the mid panels, just super buffed down suede. I personally am not a huge fan of it. And in terms of the comfort of an SB Dunk, I think it's a decently comfortable shoe. I can't comment on how it feels skateboarding. I've never skateboarded in my life, so if you want to know that specifically, definitely get a second opinion. But just walking around, I think the cushioning, it's a bit antiquated, but at least it has a Zoom Air unit on the heel. It is definitely not like the lightest shoe, but it doesn't feel like a brick. So yeah, it's decent. And in terms of the versatility of this shoe, the SB Dunk itself, like the shape, just a super wearable silhouette. Super wearable. It is definitely like super mainstream now. You can wear it with a ton of different outfits, even like semi-formal occasions. I think you can pull it off pretty well. In terms of the wearability of the colorway though, this is where it probably suffers a bit. When I talk about wearability of a colorway, I don't mean if you can pull it off. Some people can definitely pull off like super bright, super out there colorways, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about wearability objectively for a broad, kind of wide audience. This is a bit harder to pull off than like a white and blue shoe or like a white and black shoe. The green is just quite bright. It is not like an olive green where I think it's probably slightly wearable, that kind of shade. Yeah, this is definitely like a matcha asparagus green. So definitely a very versatile silhouette in terms of the wearability of the colorway. Not as much. And in terms of the storytelling, I really like how they pulled inspiration from matcha. Definitely very synonymous with Japan. I like his family crest on the heel as well as behind the tongue. It is subtle, but it is there. Kind of blends into the shoe pretty well. The kind of bubbles or speckles on the overlays, even though Nike Skateboarding says they're bubbles that are created during matcha process, but it just kind of looks like speckles to me. I wouldn't have thought they were bubbles, but I'll take their word for it. Overall storytelling is decent, but compared to like some other collaborations, non-Nike Dunk collaborations, yeah, it's not as good as that. But overall, still pretty good storytelling if you take the time to understand the inspiration and origins of this colorway. I remember in 2023 when the first Yuto Dunks dropped, in a year where Dunks were just crazy. That was the same year Born and Raised dropped, the Haritos, my favorite Dunks of that year, April Skateboards, but the Yutos definitely didn't pale in comparison. They were right up there with one of the best of that year. For this shoe, at least so far in 2025, I know it is early, but I can see if this is one of the more outstanding SB Dunks to drop this year. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Soul Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Yuto Nike SB Dunk Low Matcha. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.